Welcome to the Manifest with Ease podcast. I'm Vanessa Jaden, certified mindset and manifestation coach, and I'm here to help you manifest your dream life effortlessly. This podcast is all about making manifestation simple and fun. Each week, I'll share powerful tips and aligned strategies to help you attract abundance, success, and joy into your life. Get ready to unlock your magic and step into the life you've always dreamed of. No hustle required. Let's dive into today's episode of Manifest with Ease. My personal development journey really started, I think it was probably about 2011 when I joined a network marketing company. Now, I was during this time exposed to a lot of things around mindset, which I didn't even know that was a thing, but also a lot of sales gurus. And with that came a lot of this hustle mentality, push, drive, and today I want us to explore that success doesn't have to come through force or burnout, but it can be aligned, easeful, and even we can have these fun choices, and we get to decide what success looks like for us. In the last couple of weeks, I've noticed that this old belief kind of started sneaking back up, and it's one that says that I have to work hard in order to receive. I have to work hard in order to bring in the finances. I have to work hard. You get the point, right? And even though I thought that I had worked through a lot of this, a lot of times what happens is we work through different levels of our limiting beliefs, of our resistance, and we usually work through the level that is valid in that time, in that space. But sometimes these things do creep back just because we're going into a new level. We are stepping into a new version of ourselves. So with that said, it's a very good reminder that the mindset work, the work around our frequency and our energy, it doesn't stop. It's just stepping into a new version of ourselves. Jim Rohn said something really powerful where he said, it's not about making the $1 million. It's about who you become on the way to making the $1 million. And that is so valid because embodiment is key in all of this. Embodiment is key in getting our manifestations. It's who we are becoming, stepping into that version of ourselves who has already received that we're trying to manifest, and it's not working harder. Sometimes just taking the space, sitting back, doing the journaling, or one of the big things that I've been doing in working through this working hard to receive belief is I've done all the journaling around it. So in my mind, like when I say to myself, I have to work hard, my mind immediately is saying, no, you don't. That's not true. But in my body, that belief is still sitting. That emotion is still sitting in my body that maybe it's not safe if I'm not working hard to receive. So sometimes we have to do embodiment work. And like I was saying, what I've been doing to release this is EFT tapping. So with EFT, you tapping on different points in your body. And these are the same points usually used for acupuncture. And what it does is it shifts the energy, which then gets rid of those negative feelings, negative emotions, the intensity of what you're feeling, and just releases that. And through doing the tapping, I've experienced that release in my body. So I no longer hold that belief, hold those emotions of that I have to work hard. It gets to be easy. And that's where today we want to talk about bringing in some fun into your manifestations. Because you know what? It gets to be easy and fun. So we know that our subconscious mind is programmed between the ages of 0 to 7. And during that time, a lot of us have internalized that effort equals value. If you think about even just the school system, the more effort you put in, the more you are praised for being this good, excellent student. Maybe in your home, when you put in effort and you did something well, your parents would say, "Oh, that's fantastic, great job." And because this belief lives in your subconscious, then when you rest or when you have fun, it can sometimes feel unsafe. And that's because it's conflicting with those early belief systems. This working hard belief trauma response in my body was also around a toxic relationship that I was in. You see, it was never safe for me to just stop, to just sit, to journal, to just listen to music, to read a book. I had to be busy all the time. I had to be cooking and cleaning, and there was never time that I could just sit and rest. My mind never copped on at that time what was actually going on. My body was trying to keep me safe, so staying in that wanting to be busy all the time. So if we think about like the energetics of resistance and receptivity, force is resistant to energy. And it says that I need to control this outcome or I won't get what I want. Receptivity says, I'm aligned and open to receive. That's that part of the manifesting process when you trust and you release. You just trust that whatever it is that you're manifesting, that it is going to happen for you. You see, your manifestation responds to this frequency. And when you're in that ease and spaciousness and playfulness, these are all expansive and they are magnetic states. That's going to help you bring in that manifestation so much quicker and easier. And then obviously there is your nervous system that's not going to allow you to fully receive if it feels unsafe in the stillness. And that's why it's so important for you to create internal safety. Creating that safety around, it's okay for me to sit and journal. I don't have to be busy all the time. And sometimes that busyness can look like you picking up your phone 500 times during the day. So it's not necessarily that it's a physically busy, but in your mind you could be busy the whole time. Got to pick up the phone. What's happening? Sometimes you pick up the phone, and I noticed this with myself. I would just pick up my phone for picking up my phone. Not that I was actually even looking at something. And if I did go onto TikTok or anything, I would sit there for maybe like 10 minutes and then ask myself, what have I just seen? What have I just experienced? And I wouldn't even be able to tell you what the TikToks was about because I was just doom scrolling. So that is also a form of busyness, keeping your mind busy. So it's important to learn to be safe in the stillness. You literally have to retrain your nervous system to say this is safe. So one of the things I did when I first got out of that traumatic relationship is I did the elastic technique. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but every time my mind would go into just overwhelm and extreme feeling like I can't breathe, feeling like I was just squeezed so tight, even though on the outside of me everything looked fine, but on the inside I had this absolute feeling of suffocation. These beliefs, the hearing his words that I will never be good enough, I will never this, I will never that, I am so terrible this, I am so that, I am so whatever, I would put an elastic band around my wrist, and every time I would feel it in my body or my mind would start going into just absolute chaos, I would snap that band, but like really hard, because I retrained my body like that to say, well, you know what, the pain of thinking this, even though I'm no longer in this situation, I'm going to make this pain feel more. And I would snap that band and I would snap that band. Sometimes I'd have to snap it like 10, 15 times just to get to a place where it's just like, oh, I feel like I can breathe again. And you don't necessarily have to take such extreme measures. I have since learned wonderful techniques, and after that actually led me into doing my certification in NLP, in energetic enwiring, and neural energetic encoding, my mindsets work, and EFT and hypnosis, and all of that led to it. So honestly, there are easier ways to do this. So another way that you can get through this hard work belief, and I have to get my manifestation, I have to have this thing, is actually looking at what I call lifestyle manifestation. So not just about the thing that you want, but how do you want to feel? When you wake up in the morning, how do you want to feel? What do you want your ideal day to look like? Not necessarily just the things. And this is such a bridge between mindset and manifestation, because you know what? Sometimes you can be like, okay, so Jim Rohn spoke about the $1 million. So let's just use that as an example. I know not everybody wants to be a millionaire, but for instance, if that is your goal, or you have a certain amount of money, or a career, a specific career that you want, when you focus so hard on that thing and trying to manifest that thing, it's so easy to get caught up in this hustle culture. But when we take a step back and we say, okay, if that is the career that I want, how do I want to feel? You know, when I'm going to my work, how do I want to feel? When I have X amount of money, how do I want to feel when I'm spending that? How do I want to give back to society? How do I want to, whatever it is, but how do you want to feel around that thing? When you wake up in the morning to go to that career, when you wake up in the morning to step into your business, like what I do, when I wake up in the morning to come and arrive at my business, I have a set number of things that I do before I even land at my desk, and that is to set me up for the way I want to feel for the rest of the day. And that would be, I do journaling, I do EFT, sometimes I will just sit and listen to a song. I start my day in the stillness, in the ease. And honestly, the days that I don't do that, sometimes when I get an idea and I'm like, yes, I'm going to do this, and I just jump in and do that, sometimes I get to a point where it's like, oh my gosh, this is starting to feel hard. And then I realize I didn't start my day with the softness, with the intention. And then sometimes I just stop whatever I'm doing and I go and I get back into that softness and the ease and the flow, and suddenly creativity just sparks again. But looking at, really, this is a question I want to ask for you, is if the answer was yes to anything that you want, how do you want to feel? What is the emotions that you want to be experienced? Whether that is peace, which was the biggest thing for me when I came out of that toxic relationship, was I just wanted peace. I wanted to feel peace in my body. I wanted to feel peace in my mind. I wanted to feel peace in my lifestyle. And I have manifested all of that. I'm living that now. So it is fantastic waking up in the morning and my first thoughts are, I am so friggin' blessed. I am living in such gratitude because I'm living in the emotional state that I want to be in. Talking about these emotional states, what about fun as a frequency? You know, when I started doing the personal development through network marketing, there was a book that I read around personality traits. I can't think of what the book is right now, but they spoke about the different personality traits, and some people were just like super outgoing, and other people were just like very chill. And then you had the I think it was choleric, if I remember correctly. That was like more my personality style, like the journals, the planners, the different color pens, wanting to be very organized, very structured. And then I can't remember what the other one was, but it was all these different. And I thought fun meant this extravagant, outgoing, bubbly person. So I took on that fun equals personality, which is not the truth, because you get to decide what is fun for you. It doesn't have to be overflowing and bubbly and always happy, because I'm an introverted extrovert or extrovert introvert, whatever you want to call it. But when I'm around a close group of friends, I'm like my crazy self, and people think I'm an extrovert when I'm in my close group of friends. But when I'm in like a crowd or whatever, I'm extremely introverted. I don't like going to networking events. It's just like it is so overwhelming for me. Oh my gosh, you got to chit chat with people. That's just like, I don't like chit chat, you know. You get to decide what this fun looks like. You can use fun in your manifestation as an experiment of saying, okay, well, if this is how I want to experience the fun in this manifestation, then let's see what happens. And in this fun, just reframing things like, I don't have to get up to take the kids to school. I get to do that. I get to wake up with the alarm clock when I want to. I don't always have to. So reframing those I have to do things and reframing them in I get to, and how can you bring fun into that experience? Fun can be looking like taking an afternoon off just because you want to. If you have a job, putting in leave because there's things that you have to do. Maybe take a day here or there, or keeping your leave so that you can go on the big annual holiday. But what about just taking a day for yourself? Going and doing whatever you want to do. If you have your own business, you get to structure your day, your appointments, how you're going to be working. You get to do that. And you can put fun into that too. So someone asked me a few days ago that, okay, so how do I know if it's a subconscious block and I'm feeling unsafe? How do I know? How do I find this out? The one key thing is that when you implement the first step in the manifestation process, where it is about focusing on your desire, what it is that you want, when you really tune into that, or saying, okay, what is it that I really want? The minute you ask that question, you might have something come up for you. Like, maybe it is that you're in a job, but you would actually really like to be able to be home with your kids, or you would really like to have your own business. Whatever it is that came up in the first instance, your mind would have responded to that with something. Oh no, you can't because. So that is an easy way to start focusing on and finding those things that are blocking you. So a great exercise for that is writing down 100 dreams. So in network marketing, this was one of the exercises that we did, but we had to write it like as soon as possible. And I encourage flow and ease. So how about in the next 100 days or in the next year, just write down one of those and then work through it. Like, go and journal around it. So if this is the desire that you want, ask yourself, well, what is coming up for me? What is the resistance that I'm feeling? Another excellent thing that you can do is literally just put your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, just turn inward and say, what resistance is coming up for me right now? Where in my body am I feeling it? One of the techniques that I love doing with my clients is sometimes you will have that resistance, that stuckness, even the trauma sitting in your body somewhere. And we can actually take it out your body. It doesn't have to stay there. So yeah, the big thing is that if you don't stop and slow down, you can't identify the blocks because you're just keeping yourself busy. And that is probably the biggest block that there is. So coming to a close, I know I've said a lot here today, and just coming to a close, I want you to just know that you don't have to prove your worth through exhaustion. You don't have to prove your worth to be busy all the time. You literally get to build the life that feels like yours, the life that you want, what you want to experience and what you want to feel. You don't have to be following anybody else's success story. You get to create your own. You get to have the fun, and even if it's quiet and gentle or playful in your own way. And if you want to be loud and bubbly, well, that's great too. So if this has resonated with you, I want to invite you over to my Instagram, Vanessa Jaden Manifests, because from the 23rd of June for 5 days, plus on the 1st of July, a bonus, I'm going to be running a mid-year manifestation challenge. And we're really just going to look at our desires and the embodiment and where we're at, and just going through almost like a reset. So I invite you to come and join me on those lives. There will be a sign up link coming through on Instagram soon, where if you sign up, you can get a manifestation planner. So I'd love to see you there. I'd love to have you join me. And as always, I will see you next week, and embody, believe, and manifest.